Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lifespan Development. My name is Dr. Christy DeGioia. I'm really excited to be your professor for this semester. I love teaching this class, and I hope that you love taking it just as much as I love teaching it. I've been teaching this class for many years, but this is the first time I'm teaching it asynchronous, and I'm hoping to be able to do everything like I used to before, as far as doing activities and making it a lot of fun. So I know all of this stuff you'll basically be doing independently, which is different because we're not going to be able to have discussions, but I'm hoping that you'll still be able to think critically and do things on your own and have fun. Okay, so let's get started. My first slide that I'm going to have you take a second to kind of look at, I like to incorporate interesting activities with my lectures. So my first slide is some riddles. So I'm going to have you take a couple of minutes, see if you can figure out the riddles. So there's 3 different ones, and then the answers on the next page. So here are the answers. I don't know how many of you got them, but they're kind of interesting. They're insight problems, and we'll talk about that today when we get to chapter 1. But those kind of problems are problems where all of a sudden you kind of figure out what the answer is, and you're like, oh, that's it. Okay, so every lecture I'll start with an agenda just to kind of keep things flowing and keep things organized. So what we'll do today is introductions, and then I will go over the syllabus, and then we will do chapter 1. So a little bit about me. I graduated with my PhD in 2013 from UDM, and I've been teaching at UDM as an adjunct professor since 2009. Most of my classes have been in developmental. I do also teach psychology of death and dying, and I've taught human sexuality as well, in a couple of grad classes. My earlier education in my first career was as a teacher. I taught in the Bronx for 6 years in early elementary. So this is developmental, really goes with what I'm very familiar with as far as combining education and how children learn with the psychology aspect. So my day job, I am a psychological evaluator. I do psychological assessments in a contractual capacity for an agency that helps individuals find employment. So what they do is counselors refer individuals to me, and I do evaluations looking at individuals' abilities, strengths, and weaknesses, and how they might relate to a work field or an educational setting. And then I do all the testing and I write recommendations. I also do private evaluations for usually parents who are looking for guardianship of their children once they're over 18. My teaching philosophies are basically to help individuals think in a critical manner. I feel like that's really what's missing from the educational system, is just being able to think critically and problem solve. And what I like to do in my classes are link theories to real life, because a theory doesn't really mean anything unless you can relate it to real life. So as we go through everything and through the semester, you'll see my all of my assignments will be, can you take a theory and link it to real life? And I don't do examinations. I do papers and presentations, because I feel like with exams, um, you're not real, many times people just study for the exam and then they forget it. But if you are doing a paper and linking something and using observations, you will remember a lot more and get a lot more out of it. Okay, so those are my big teaching philosophies. Um, our guest speaker for many of the early childhood observations and things that we're going to do as far as linking theory to real world is going to be my son Declan, who is now 4.5 years old. I used to bring him into class and he would be able to do little experiments and observations, and we would take what we were learning from each chapter and kind of give him a task to do to see how he would perform. Um, Obviously now with COVID, I haven't taken him in a couple of years, but what I will do for this class is I will do videos with him. And what your goal is, and we'll get into this, and I'll definitely help you along the way, is to kind of look at a theory, hypothesize how he will do, and then test that. Okay, so like, how would you test a theory? What will he do, and what did he do? And we'll go over that with our first paper, because that's going to be, we're going to do a couple developmental assessments throughout the semester where we'll look at different aspects of development within a certain age range, and you will get to test out your hypotheses. Okay, so I have my name here, my email for you. This is an asynchronous class, which means that we will not be meeting. My goal is to have everything to you on Mondays, and you'll just be able to have a week to do whatever it is that you need to do. Okay. My office hours, because I do think it's important that I have a way for you to communicate, aside from email. I'm going to reserve Wednesdays on Blackboard from 4 to 5. For what I will do is, if anything changes, I will email you. But for this week, I think I might have 2 different office hours. But for now, it's definitely on Wednesday from 4 to 5. So if we go over everything and you have questions, you can just stop on by on Blackboard. I'll have the link open, and I'll just be waiting if you need anything. Okay. And then, of course, what I would like to do is, in case that 4 to 5 doesn't work, if you're working or you have a class at that time, kind of do another, at least for the very beginning, another session of office hours, just in case you need it. But feel free to email me if you need anything as well. Okay, so this is the required text. Like I said, I don't do exams. However, the textbook is really important, because as you'll see, you're going to have a presentation that you'll do, and you'll need the textbook for the papers as far as understanding the theories, and what they mean in order to link them to real world. So the method of instruction for the semester will be online lectures, videos, and independent activities. So you're going to see, just like that very first activity that I gave you, I'm always going to link, hopefully you'll think it's something fun, link something fun to whatever it is that we're learning. And I'm going to go back to your assignments as I'm talking about things, and we'll obviously go more into your assignments. But when you do your presentation, the goal is to be able to link a fun activity for the class to do with whatever it is that you're teaching. Okay. Because I definitely think learning is fun. So I want to be able to link some kind of fun activity in. Um, and then obviously you're going to be doing the activity on your own. So hopefully it'll be interesting for you and you will learn from the activity. But those will be my methods of instruction. Um, Expectations are really important, especially when we're doing an asynchronous class. Um, Please let me know in advance if something is hindering the timeliness of an assignment. Don't wait till the end of the semester to speak with me or weeks after an assignment is due. And this is really important. I think there's 42 individuals in our class and we're not meeting. So it's really important that you are keeping up with everything that you need to keep up with as far as due dates for things that you have, and when you have to get things to me, because I can't track everyone down. Asynchronous class, really, you're on your own, so it's important that you're being independent and responsible with when things are due. Okay. Um, it is expected that you'll read the chapter prior to the week that it's due, um, and that'll help you as far as listening to my lectures and kind of understanding what I'm talking about. And it'll just make more sense as we do the activities as well. Um, what I will do is, and I'll go through this with expectations for me, but you're expected to print out and complete any activities that go along with the week's lecture. And for this week, I did email it to you, but from now on, it will be in Blackboard under content for each week. Anything that you need will be there. Okay. So the expectations for me as well as you, all chapter PowerPoint slides for the book are already posted, and everything's under Blackboard under content. I've done all chapters from 1 to 16 in there, okay? And then I will also, under that same week, post this lecture, the lecture that I'm doing right now, so that you have it for the week. And I'll post everything that is needed for the week by Monday morning on Blackboard, under that content. Okay, and this will also include any paperwork. So, like for today, if you went into week 1, there's paperwork about ADHD because we're going to do a neat little observation. Student expectations is to please be aware of all assignments that are due. Keep track of when the assignment is due. Be aware of the exact assignment that's due. So, for example, everybody either picked or I picked for you the presentation, which is on a chapter. Please note that you're not doing the chapter. Okay, your presentation is not the chapter. Your presentation is the question within that chapter. So it's really important that you understand the question that you're doing, and that it's not the full chapter. Okay. And if you do hand in an assignment that wasn't what was asked, this will be a grade of 0 and will not be made up. Okay. You'll have different assignment due dates for the critical thinking assignment, and just be aware of when your presentation and summaries are due. I actually did send out a syllabus schedule with all of the assignments and when they're due, so just make sure that you put it in your planner. Okay. Okay, the methods of evaluating students. And I'll go through each of these assignments. Now, what I do is I give everything that you need in the very beginning of the semester. So you will know all of your papers. You'll know everything that you need because that's in this syllabus, which I think is like 15 pages, and that's why it's so long, because I've included everything in there. Um, Now, because I give things out so early, um, I do expect that you do everything on time. I understand that things come up, but you have um, the ability to start everything early, so it's really important that you manage your time effectively. Okay. So, evaluating students, you're going to have 3 papers. And I'll go through them briefly in here, and then throughout this semester, I can go through it more in depth or in my office hours if you have additional questions. Okay. You'll have a critical thinking assignment, which is the presentation on the discussion board, as well as a summary that will go along with that. And like I said, everything is pretty much spelled out for you on the schedule as far as when your presentation is due and when your summary paper is due. And then you're also going to have a weekly post. And that post is called What Did You Learn? And that's going to be on the discussion board as well. So I've already opened up the discussion board, and it'll say weekly post, What Did You Learn? So those are all of the assignments for this semester. And as I said, I don't give exams, which is why you don't see any exams on there. And you have a total of possible 590 points. So papers number 1 and 3 are both developmental assessments. Okay. These are very different papers than people are used to. So I will definitely make sure that you understand the papers, and we will also have examples throughout the semester, and we'll use them as far as videos that we'll watch, and also observations that we'll do with Declan. Okay. Your objective for these developmental assessments are to be able to observe an individual and look at the developmental concept and link the observations to outside research and theories. And what you'll look at is something specific. It'll either be like physical, social, emotional, with an individual. And this is I think it's a really cool assignment, because you get to pick, how would you observe this? How would you measure this in this individual? And then what happens when you do it? So for paper number 1, you're going to be doing infancy, childhood, or middle childhood. So you get to pick. And paper 3 will be the older years. So adolescence, young adulthood, middle adulthood, or late adulthood. And the goal of these papers are to link research with real world observations. Okay, so due to COVID, you're going to have a choice of how to conduct your observations. If you don't have an individual that lives at your home that meets the requirements for in-person and the developmental age, you can pick a character from a television show. Okay, so it's just really important that you're still being safe if you pick somebody that you are going to do this assessment on. Now, for the younger years, this might be an issue for some people. For the older years, you can FaceTime or Zoom or whatever you'd like to do to get your observation. So it gets a little easier as we go along. Okay. So this is just the developmental assessment and how you pick somebody. Here's your paper number 2. So those are that's the first and the third paper. Paper number 2 is young adult transitions. And this paper is going to be a reflection on your own experiences as they relate to moving into the adult social world. So that'll be chapter 9 in our textbook. And I think I had started this when I get to my lecture, but I really want this class to be a journey for you where you learn things about yourself as well. So this is where I picked paper number 2 from. And what you'll look at is just a reflection of your own transitions. Do you agree with the theories or ideas presented in the chapter? Why or why not? And how do these theories fit in, or how do they not fit in with your own transition experience? And what I love about teaching psychology is that we can all fit it in with our lives. So it's very easy to link theories to real world. Okay, so the other method of evaluating students, the other assignment is the critical thinking assignment. And I call this a critical thinking assignment because it's just a creative way to explore something. There's no right or wrong answer that you're doing. Um, what you're going to be presenting is you have a question, and all of you have picked your question, and you're going to teach the class, and then you're going to link it to an activity. And that's when I say there's no right or wrong as far as being creative. And I don't like to give many times people ask for an example of this. I don't like to give an example because I don't want to taint your creativity or kind of stifle it. Okay. So what I do instead is I work with you on this. So we're having everything due on Mondays, just to so that it's easy and that you know that you have a full week to do whatever you need to do in my class. So what I am asking is that whatever Monday for that week your critical thinking assignment will be due, you are going to email it to me by 5 p.m. the Friday before. And that way you and I can discuss and work on it together if I have changes. And we'll do that throughout the weekend. And then once it's finalized, I am going to post it. So it needs to be posted the Sunday before that Monday by 4. And then I did write that there will be late points taken off if you don't get it to me by Friday at 5. And then if you forget about the assignment, there's no makeup assignments, okay? Because this, again, is on the syllabus and all the due dates are right there. The fun thing that people usually say about this assignment is that you get to do an activity with the class. And this is just after you teach them, just linking something fun to do. So you always have to choose an activity to go along with your question, okay? And the questions really lend themselves to being creative. And then what everybody will do, and this is not graded but expected because people are taking time, is they will do the activity and answer it right on the discussion board. Now, like I said, this isn't graded. This will be something that you will have to do throughout the week. So there are some weeks, if you did look at the schedule, where there's like 5 people going. You're expected to look at everybody's critical thinking assignment and write something for that, okay? And it doesn't have to be, you're not writing a lot or anything, but usually what I ask is that people just write something from the activity. So if, let's say, I post my question and my activity, then everybody will post underneath what they thought of, what they thought about the activity and the answer to the activity, okay? And again, I don't remember who is going first, but those people will kind of be the guinea pigs to see. And once you see it in action, this is going to make a lot more sense. And that's usually the consensus that I get from people. But again, I will work on it with you. And if you're having problems thinking of an activity, we can kind of go back and forth with what might work for you. Okay, and this is just kind of reiterating to make sure that you email me your assignment so I can look it over. This is due the Friday at 5 prior to your Monday deadline, and it will be marked 5 points off per day after that time. I will be the one to post your critical thinking assignment. So you're not going to be posting it. The only thing you're going to be doing is emailing me. Okay. And then it must be done, though, totally finished and edited by Sunday so that I can post it. And if it's not done by then, we're not going to be able to post it. Okay. And there will be no makeups. The summary that you will be doing will be due the Monday after your post. And I put this all on the schedule for you, for each of you, for individual critical thinking assignments. And your summary does not have to be long. It's just going to be a summary of what you presented, what surprised you when you were doing your research on your topic, looking at the comments that students posted. Did anything surprise you? And then what did you learn? Okay. And that's really big for me as we think critically and as we're learning. My job is to hope that you're learning something from each lecture and from everything that we do. So I'd like to hear about what you've learned. Okay. There's no specific format for the paper. You're just going to answer all parts for full credit. No late papers will be accepted, and this will be submitted on Blackboard. Okay, and to kind of make things consistent, I'm going to have everything due on Mondays at 4 when things are due, just because that's easier and you don't have to worry about the day and the time, okay, since we're not meeting. Of course, you can do it earlier, though. The third assignment are weekly posts, and these are called What Did You Learn? These are due the Monday after I post the slides at 4. It's 10 points for each weekly post, and there will be a link open in the discussion board for weekly posts where you will do that. So it'll say week 1, what did I learn? And all of you can each post what you've learned. Now, this is what your post is to include, and you won't get full credit unless you include all of them. Okay, all of the criteria. Name something that you learned. What did you think about the concept or the theory or whatever it is prior to learning about it? What surprised you about what you learned? And then I want you to post a resource or a link supporting what you learned. And this must be something that wasn't discussed in the lecture. And again, this is being able to link the theory to real world. So find something out there that links it and that supports what you've learned. And the last thing that I wanted to go over on the syllabus is are the student course evaluations. And what I do is I give 10 points extra credit for individuals that complete the student course evaluations. And at the end of the semester, you'll get an email. And then I get an email confirming that you completed it. And I give out 10 extra credit points for this. Usually people don't need the extra credit. But please do it. I really do value the feedback that I get, and I really do look at it. And this is something that I want to talk about. This class is for you. And I want to make sure that you're learning, which is why I do the what did you learn? And I want to make sure that I'm being able to be there for you as best as I can. So I always say this throughout the semester: if there's something that you're having issues with, please come to me and tell me. Obviously not in person, you can't, right? But on Blackboard or email, so that we can work through it. Because by saying it on a course evaluation, that's really not helpful. I want to be able to help you while I still can. So if there's anything, I'm trying to make this class as organized as I can, since we're not meeting at all, or even meeting at the time of class. If you think of anything that would be more helpful, please let me know, okay? because I do take that into consideration. Okay, so the very last part that I would like to talk about with the syllabus is the course schedule, which is probably the most important. Um, in your packet with the syllabus, what I have is your assignments as far as your reading assignments and the post, what did I learn from which chapter, and when your papers are due. You also have another schedule which contains your critical thinking assignments, when the presentations are due and when the summaries are due. Okay, so if you look, I tried to be pretty specific. There's the 3 columns as far as the week that we're on, um, the topic that we'll be discussing, and then what's due. If anything changes, I always say tentative schedule because things change. I will never have it affect what's due for you, because you guys already have your schedule planned out. If anything changes, what will change is for me. Okay, so um, be assured that everything that's due is already set. Okay. Um, if there's any questions about anything, please let me know. If you do not have a critical thinking assignment, or if it's not on your name's not on the list, please let me know as well. Okay, so at this point, you should have everything that you need for the whole semester as far as the papers, and what's due.